on the infamous plank. So we are going to talk about all the steps to get into a plank, which I know there's all these planking challenges and all these things. Everybody thinks planks are kind of easy but hard but weird, and they should be able to do them for 5 minutes. But if you're doing them right, probably can't do them for 5 minutes. So Ashley, I'm going to ask you to come onto all fours, kneeling, facing the foot bar. What that is going to mean for people getting on and off of here is to always check your spring load first and make, just do it slowly. Don't jump on, and the springs might be on the lighter side. From here, I'm going to ask Ashley to set up their knees just a teensy bit closer so they're really under the sits bone. So the idea is that the joint really plugs into a really neutral spot, allowing to find a little more length in the hips and width in the sits bones, almost feeling the thigh bones internally rotate the smallest amount. Yes. Now, I don't have to correct this, but I am going to point it out because it's important to know that the wrists, elbows, and shoulders are directly in line. There are times to vary that, but when you're first establishing your all-four position, this is really important. We have nice long lines from the neck to the sits bones. The one thing I would ask for is just a little bit more of the heart floating back and a width in the rhomboids from the serratus. Really nice way to think about that is that you're punching the ground softly just a little bit and then finding the tiniest bit more external rotation so the back of the armpit closes. And if you have like some really pretty something you like that you want to show off, like a shell you found on the beach, you can show it through the front of your armpits. Yes! So nice, serratus. So from here, we're just going to take a couple of our belly breaths again. We're going to inhale, fill the belly so big with air, and then exhale, wrap the belly down the spine without moving the spine and without pulling our sits bones together. So we're going to think really wide sits bones, inhale, exhale, engage the core, find all this length through the body. And again, we're just going to continue to think about using that as your stabilizer. Once you get to this position, the workout options are up to you. So I'm going to give you a few modifications and then you can flow. From there first, this is a partial plank. This is plank prep, this is a biomechanic. From here, I'm just going to ask Ashley to push their arms away a few inches. And then slowly pause. Think about the shoulders not squeezing down the back, but widening away from the ears. And then resist coming back in. This is a great upper body, arms, feeling the rib connection moment. You can play with it, making it heavier or lighter. Depending if it's heavier or lighter, the push away or coming in is going to be different. On the next one, we're going to stay in. We're going to play with the knees going back just a few inches. So again, the spine stays in this great, perfect line. Nothing's perfect, I know, but we're talking about perfect in relation to where someone's body is that day. Because as long as you're honoring your body and moving and being nice to your body, sometimes having one with your body, but we all have great bodies to work with, and we want to try to achieve the musculature in the most efficient manner. So I am just going to remind Ashley to find a little more serratus and let that heart float back and let the shoulder blades widen just a little bit more. Again, it's the midst of COVID, so we're not touching or tapping, but what I would say then is to imagine there's a balloon under here floating up into the heart. Very nice. From there, we're going to go and we're going to ask Ashley to tuck their toes and take a nice deep breath. Inhale, prepare as you exhale. Ashley's knees are going to float off 1 inch. See, teeny tiny. Notice how the carriage is moving out. I'm going to ask Ashley to keep the carriage all the way in for this. Find that control. This is hard. This is harder than a plank for most people because you're controlling where the knees are. So I'm going to let Ashley come back down. And we are going to do that again to go into our full plank. So that is a great place to stop. Also, you can do both arm things there again. You can do both knee things there again. Take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, engage the abdominals and float the knees up 1 inch. From here, I'm going to ask Ashley to find a little more of their big toe. So the heels are not pulling away from each other. Yes. And if you see what that does to the leg rhythms, what it does to widen the sits bones. And then on the next exhale where Ashley feels safe, I'm going to ask Ashley to straighten their legs. Yes, 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 yes. Very nice. From here, we're gonna stay soft in the elbows, just a little spin and not lock them, but continue to shine them forward. That's where you get the tricep work in. Now, when we turn this around, Ashley would be standing straight. Ask for a little more heart, a little more serratus. Ashley is probably about ready to kill me, but I want you to notice that the psoas is long. The feet would not twist an ankle. The hamstrings are active. The butt is not squeezed, and the neck is long and has no tension in it. Ashley, you can pull your knees back in. You can slowly come into a really nice child's pose from here. It's a great way to stretch out that serratus after. Try walking your hand to one side or another, adding a little bit of a safe side bend in here. Taking a couple of deep breaths. And that is your plank setup.